It's me, your host, the investment biker, Dave Baker, from the underground studios on Atterbury Lane. Roll on the throttle. Sit back in your saddle and get ready.
Where through social media accounts and shows like yours and stuff, there's a connection now, a deeper connection, and plus going to events and meeting up with a lot of people. I mean, I have friends I've only met a few years now, and I feel like I've known them my whole life, and I can count on them.
Yeah.
No matter what, I can pick up the phone and say, "Brother, I'm in trouble." Boom, there's a knock on my door with probably 5 or 10 other people saying, "What's the problem, brother?"
Yeah, right.
So
I mean, that's
I used to just do what I'm doing and be behind the scenes.
yeah.
But now I stepped out and said, "Look, this is who I am. This is what I've been doing my whole life. And if you like it, here it is. If you don't like it, that's cool. You
Yeah.
can go on your way. There's thousands of other things to be interested in, but that's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The passion to ride is as deep as it is the passion to write about riding.
Yeah.
So if I'm not able to ride, it's going to affect me in a deep, deep way. And the same
Yeah.
thing, if I don't have inspiration or if I don't have a pen and paper or have time, it's going to affect me. So right now, everything's flowing good because I'm blessed. That would be the best way to say it. I have love
Yeah.
in my life. I have family, friends, brothers and sisters in the motorcycle world. I have a career. I have a decent job that I'm pretty well holding on to at this point in time.
Yeah.
So I have to enjoy that.
And you talk about the brotherhood and sisterhood of the motorcycle world. I know you're involved and Debbie Fitch, I know, and some other like New York riders. What
No,
is
see,
motorcycle motherfuckers?
it's the MCMF family,
What
and
is that?
I look at it. It's been established for decades. I mean, Spade George
Yeah.
and I'm sorry,
Sugar and Spade, right?
Sugar and Spade.
Yeah.
They've been riding that lifestyle for decades now, and there's a lot of people into it. It's basically stands for being independent,
Mm.
and in your independence, your mindset is still almost every waking moment you're thinking about riding or your friends and brothers and sisters who are riding, how they're doing. Is your bike running? What part do I need to buy? My life is totally
Yeah.
revolved around the motorcycle lifestyle. My wife is not a biker per se. We've been together 10 years. I love her with all my heart. She stands by me through everything, thick and thin, helped me to get to where I am right now in my life personally. But it's just people of a same mindset who are riding together, and their only purpose is to share the joy and the wealth of knowledge of this lifestyle that we live, and the camaraderie and the brotherhood and that family bond that we have with someone that you just meet at an event, but you've known them from like Instagram, you've
Yeah.
known them from this MCMF thing that you hear about, and now you meet them and you realize that they're as real as what they portray on social media. Now they're not just putting out this, this is who I am, motherfucker,
Right.
or being timid or whatever, and then you meet the real person and then you talk to them about the lifestyle, the MCMF lifestyle. It's all inclusive. There's certain, I will never, and I said this in interviews about my career and stuff, I would never uh downplay an established, someone going out for an established club patch. There's things to say about people that are startup clubs, but
Yeah.
for an established club, that is a lifestyle that is to be deeply respected and to be honored in this society. And for decades, we as a lifestyle would not be where we are without the freedom fighters for abate and going for helmet laws and laws against the lifestyle, the riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
But people who live their life and dedicate their brotherhood to a patch and the camaraderie that belongs to, and you mentioned with the service, you come out of the service, and that's kind of and you're a biker, that's exactly the lifestyle that you would be interested in.
Yeah.
My saying, the depth of respect I have for patch holders, which I've been president of a club in my lifetime. My career, my family dynamic now really calls for me to be more independent and to ride when I'm able to ride and to take care of things. Because if you're in a
You got to be all
club,
in. You have to be
well, that's what it is.
dedicated,
You're either
100%.
100% with
Yeah.
your club and you're a
Yeah.
brother as a family, or you're not part of that club.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can be in riding clubs. There's different there's different things.
Yeah.
But the MCMF lifestyle is just, it's a handshake away from brotherhood.
Gotcha.
That's all. No,
Yeah.
and honestly, years and years ago, I didn't even know what it meant, but I was digging where Debbie was coming from. And I
Yeah.
always, since I've known her, supported her art when I used to be on
Yeah.
Facebook.
You see this?
Yeah, I get that. Definitely. Yeah.
That's hers.
Yeah. I've got them in smaller prints, I believe.
Yeah, I got it framed.
Not only
put it up.
not only is her art beautiful, but she is a beautiful person. And
Yeah.
I think I mentioned to you the last time we spoke was my career was spent writing about the more darker side of the life. I've prospected for clubs, I've hung around, I've been a hang around, I've done this and that, I've been solo, independent, MCMF. I left my last club and I put down my patch because of internal politics, right? Which really, instead of bringing the patch together, it tore the whole dynamic and the fabric apart. And I said, well, I don't have no part of that no more. I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs. And if you can't even find a common ground for the good of the patch, why am I here?
Yeah.
But with getting back to Debbie, I was out there after that period for a couple of years as an independent, and I wasn't really socializing and reaching out. I was still writing for magazines, and I was in a fellowship that we helped get other individuals, biker poets, published. Road Scribes of America, Mary Susan Williams McNaught as the founder, which I'm no longer associated with, but they're still established and done wonderful for the literary community and the motorcycle community for over 10 years. Bringing hundreds and thousands of biker poems to magazines and stuff. But I had gone off on my own, and I figured, well, I'm going to go back to being alone, per se. Just kind of get back into my family and just write for the magazine and go on my way. But then I started going to events, started meeting people, and Debbie, I always loved her. I loved her work, the personality, the person she is, and then come to meet her at one of the cheap thrills a couple of years ago, and the bond was there deeper than the bond we had from socializing on social media. And so I'm out there all alone, lost and alone, and it's to me, it's as if she stopped on her bike like I was broke down. And nobody was stopping. Everybody was riding by and go, oh, there's Sorez, man. Hey, how you doing, Sorez? And I'm like, yo, dude, stop. And they just like, yeah. And Debbie like slows down and stops, gets off her bike. She goes, yo, what's up, Eddie, man? Anything wrong? And at that time, it's like, yeah, my life fell apart. I don't know what to do. It's just like I had no more direction. I was going to retire writing after 40 something years of being published because my passion was gone. Like I really didn't feel it anymore. And even the ride, my heart wasn't 100% into the ride, which can be terrible. It can have terrible ramifications if you aren't paying attention out there.
Yeah, you got
my mind's on the past 10 years of bullshit that I went through and the things I've lost. And I just said this at a store today because somebody was talking about it, being thankful for things. I know sleeping behind a dumpster. I know that, it was more than a dozen years ago, but I've experienced that in my life. So I've come from that, losing my family and my children and my house and my bikes and my car, and a lot of it due to drugs and alcohol addictions, which haven't had a drink in I can't even count how many years now, 15, something like that. Which is neither here or there, but it caused me to lose everything. And now I'm married again for 10 years to a wonderful woman. And with that comes a family. I mean, it comes grandchildren,
Yeah.
even though I'm a stepdad or step grandpa, as far as the family's concerned, I'm grandpa,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the children know me as grandpa.
Yeah.
So in one of the many blessings I have is to have recovered that or found that again, family. I had lost it. I had lost my family, father, sisters, mother, life just took us all in different directions. And sometimes it wasn't in positive ways. So I was, I felt abandoned.
Yeah.
And then here comes, 10 years ago, a woman into my life who probably first glance looked at me and said, I'm going to go across the street, man. You know what I mean? That guy, and then winds up, we get together and we're married for almost a dozen years. And she supports me 100%, but I have so much to be thankful for now where I had nothing. So even if I have $10 in my pocket, like there's hardly any money in what I'm doing. I write for 5 magazines now. If I may mention them, I have Outlaw Biker in the summer is doing a feature. Now, not only are they doing a feature, I spoke with the editor and he's allowing me to, he's going to do a feature of my work. And then I'm bringing Darren Farland into the submission with his art. Now we've been working with Behind Bars out of North Carolina.
Now he's the one that did some art in your book.
Yeah, he did the front cover.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of show you over here. This piece here, I'm not gonna drag it up to the camera.
Yeah.
But this piece back here was done for Roadhawk magazine on this month. It's actually in the magazine at roadhawk.com.
Cool.
I spoke with the publisher Craig this morning. I created this plaque from the original artwork from the magazine. It's going to have the artwork, the plaque. I always use a chain to highlight the work, and then Craig allowed me to use the Roadhawk logo in full sponsorship of the piece. And then on the other wall here, I have a piece that I will bring a little closer. That now I used the one graphic from basically royalty free on the internet because I'm not selling it, so I'm not worried about getting screwed or something. But this is a piece I did last night, and there'll be a reason I'm telling you about these 2 pieces.
Oh, cool.
This is Twist and Ride. Now this would be the graphic that I grabbed from the internet, and I'm not making money off this, so I'm not trying to take the copyright claim or anything of that. Which is why there's no C or TM or register on it.
Right.
And my logo is on the bottom, which I have right now. I got stickers of this. I'm getting patches, and then the work. And if you'd like, I would read you the piece.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Let me get it in your shot. It's Twist and Ride. Let us ride like the cops are right behind us, lights and sirens on a highway where there's no turning back and we might wind up going down. Ride it like we stole it, even though it's ours. Ride like there's no tomorrow, because there just might be one. Where every shadow is a screaming demon and the wind that shrieks and howls. Where the past and present comes together at 100 miles an hour. Let us pick up all the pieces of our broken lives, fit them all together. Let us twist and ride. By Sorez the Scribe.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, David.
That's awesome.
The reason I'm mentioning this is good and bad. I create once Darren Farland and myself started working together, collaborating, his artwork, he does the drawing, and then we're at this stage of our collaboration that he will submit to me a drawing. I will sit down with it and then try to come up with something, some words, some poems, or some prose that will complement his art.
Okay.
So far, we've done pretty good. We've knocked it out of the park with the Roadhawk Publishing, with the Behind Bars Publishing. April's, we have a piece coming out in Thunder Roads, Iowa. Because I used to write for Thunder Road for like 8 years, and I used to, with the Road Scribe, submit work to him every issue, every month for 8 years. Well, for Thunder Roads, we wrote for them for I think 6 years. But all these magazines in that time frame, we never missed a deadline, and we're talking about 3 magazines a year as an average, and then most of the time 3 different PDFs, which included maybe 6 biker poems from 6 different individuals. So you're talking maybe a dozen or so works a month going out without fail, because that was how dedicated the fellowship is and how dedicated the poets are to this craft. Really, it's not even with what I'm doing so much pushing myself as an artist, because I'm going to do what I do no matter what, but the actual art of poetry and biker poetry. And with the help of Darren, I've able to step that up with the artwork and the drawings and the flow of the words, and the art is just, it's almost like the same person did the art and the so we're really having a lot
There's
of
a good
success.
connection there. Good.
Yeah,
good
even the guy from Outlaw Biker, I said, well, by the way, I know you're going to submit the work I already submitted, you're going to publish the work I submitted to you, but here's an idea. I'm working with an artist now. Can I send you something? And he's like, by all means. So I told Darren, in about 4 days, we came up with something, sent it off to him. He says it's in. It's going to be in the same issue. He doesn't know which one yet because a lot of the issues are already booked up, but he's going to find space in the summer. So we're going to have a full-fledged feature in a national magazine together. And I'm really thankful for what Darren's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he reached out to do the cover of my book. He sent me a piece of art that he drew. Which
Did you just meet Darren online?
He was reading my work on Instagram.
That's so crazy. It's so
and
cool that happened.
Part of that,
yeah,
which I do have to get back to these plaques, because being an older gentleman, if you can call me a gentleman, I lose track real easy. I forget the stuff on the stove, and the sink overflowed this morning because I forgot it was running, that kind of crap. I have these two plaques. One is the piece from Roadhawk. It's at the crossroads, and one's just a generic twist and ride that I made up this morning. They are going to benefit my brother and MCMF brother, Joe, and his wife, Linda. Joe, Electrical Eye Joe, on Instagram, at Electrical Eye Joe, Big Joe. His wife, unfortunately, was diagnosed recently with stage 4 cancer, and it's rampant. It's running rampant. And I've spoken to him one-to-one on, and he's devastated. What more can you say? She's been his foundation like almost his whole life. That's how long they've known each other and been together. So these 2 plaques I made up, and what I'm going to send them to him, because it's best to have his family and friends to present, but we want to do an auction or a benefit, whichever way they decide. They have my full support, obviously, because we created these pieces of art for them, but also with Roadhawk magazine, Craig Featherholt said that he's totally in support of what this effort is, where the work is going, and the effort that we're taking for our friend and our brother and his family. So further details will be either on my Instagram at Sorez the Scribe, or Joe's at Electric Eye Joe.
Yeah. And let me know the details. I'd love to help push that out and see how much support we can get for them.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is another guy that, when we met at Indian Larry's
block party,
2019, I guess. Yeah, the block party in Brooklyn. And we'd had already been friends, and he's already been pushing my work as a supporter for since day one. He saw my work. I think he might have saw my work through Debbie Fitch.
Okay.
Because I wasn't even on Instagram I was on Facebook, which I left because I really don't want to even go there. But, he started supporting my work and pushing it out there. And being new to Instagram, I had 2 followers, 3 followers, 4 followers. Now there's a couple hundred. And now there's 5 magazines. And then there's New York City Motorcyclist website, NewYorkCityMotorcycle.com. I write for him every month. In fact, my deadline for them is in like a day or 2. I think I wrote it yesterday. And one thing I'm very thankful for is the way my muse works is not so much according to my deadline. Like, oh, I got to write something tomorrow. Otherwise I wouldn't write, because if you're not ready for your deadline, you might as well hang it up if you can't get a grasp of that timeline. But when the spark is lit that there's a deadline coming, the creativity just starts flowing. I mean, it just opens up a door for inspiration to start flowing. And I'll sit down, and 95% of my work all these years is written in one sitting. And The only reason I do more editing now is because more of it is being published, not just on social media, but in magazines and stuff. So and then stuff on social media, I don't want to put in a magazine because vice versa. I want to keep everybody, and I don't want to send, like sometimes years ago, we would overlap submissions because we just ran out of work or we ran out of time. And I can't afford to do that because if you're not ready and you don't have something fresh and decent, you might lose your publisher. If you don't have something interesting, then they lose interest. The readers will lose interest. And a lot of my work that's being published, and I understand this, is a draw for advertisers, and it is a draw for readership. Without your advertisers, you're not producing a printed magazine, and without the readers, the advertisers are not getting, people buying their wares and stuff and their services, and then it just everything folds. So we all have to support each other with this. So like with this benefit, I'm, like I said before, if I got $10 in my pocket, I think I'm doing okay, and that's just the way I live my life since I only had $10 in my pocket. So it's an easy way to live, because when I got, a couple of hundred or $1,000 in my pocket now, it doesn't go far from my pocket because I still in the mentality that I'm broke, I ain't got nothing, what I mean? And my needs are limited. My wife is wonderful, and there's always food, and there's always, the lights are always on and everything, and I try to help as much as I can, but I'm thankful for every little thing. You had to answer the question, because again, I go veering off a track. So between Joe and myself, we're going to try and get this. It'll be on my website. You're going to promote it.
Yeah.
We're hoping we get a lot of response, and to get a really solid benefit.
Yeah.
For Linda and for Joe.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did I guess it was last, like October, we did a pink ribbon ride for breast cancer awareness through a local motorcycle shop in my area.
Right.
And I think there was 25 registrants or something, and it was the first one. The owner of that shop, his wife was a cancer twice survivor and fighter again.
Right.
His shop manager, just went through treatment. And the day of the event, there was over 100 and some bikes. Cool. And just blew out all the expectations.
That's
wonderful. It was so last minute and everything, but
and you know what? Next year it'll be 1,000.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's how it happens.
Yeah, like it. Say what you want about the motorcycle community. When somebody needs help, people come together. It's always been that way. It'll always be that way.
Well, you got to look at this year too. The way everyone was shut down last year, and I had plenty to write about with that situation without getting political and all.
Yeah.
It's like almost the freedom of the wind was in jeopardy there for a while. I got stopped in 2019 by cops. What are you doing out on the road? And I'm like, dude, I work at one of the local retailers, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I'm like, seriously, you're going to stop me from being on my motorcycle with a full face helmet in the winter, And they're like, oh, and even back then, though, it was when it's first coming out. And I don't even want to veer off subject on that, because I don't.
Yeah.
We're talking about life and living and the lifestyle, that we're so passionate about. And when I thought there might have been a problem with the roads, man, I started getting stuff published that was saying, yo, what's going on? But because that ain't gonna happen. You're gonna be seeing me on the news, that guy on the bike on the highway with 18 cop cars and a helicopter following him as he's riding down the road, giving him the finger, I'm riding, I don't care.
So the Gotta Ride motorcycle motherfucker poem.
Tell me you want to hear that.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Oh, because that's got a beat to it, man. Yeah. When I wrote for every motorcycle motherfucker.
Yeah. So let's send one out.
And obviously it's MCMF, with a big lightning bolt going down the middle. And it's dedicated to MCMF worldwide.
All right, give me the cadence, and then I'll see if I've got some music that can back it up.
All right. Gotta ride, motherfucker, gotta ride. Gotta head on down the highway, motherfucker, gotta ride, motherfucker, gotta ride. Gotta head on down the road, motherfucker, gotta ride, motherfucker, gotta ride. Gotta twist the wit the hard way, motherfucker, gotta ride, motherfucker, gotta ride. Got to head on down the road. How you like that?
I love it. Let me see.
That's the way it was written. And that, again, was written like that. I just sat there with a pen and
So I'm gonna give it a shot if you don't mind. I'm gonna read Twisted.
I don't mind.
Moments.
Shit. Go right ahead.
I'm gonna see if I can throw some music on here, and I probably interpret it different than you do.
Of course, you're
That's
the
what I
reader.
want to see. Like,
But that's what needs to happen.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
All right, let me see if I can. I need my daily dose of wind and the joy it brings from deep within. Not for an hour, always more. To get my head straight, to feel renewed. Out there on the open road, shifting gears, embracing hope. Knowing that those moments matter, these moments when I'm twisting throttle. Sorez the Scribe.
When I do my audio book, dude, you're hired. That is awesome.
How was that?
You got that voice. I may have the words, but you got that voice. Oh, that is so cool. See, now with the way the flow of the work goes, Mary Susan, who I mentioned earlier, I used to write for the Connecticut Cruise News with Don Clady back around 2009, I think it was 2009, 10, 11. But I was associate columnist for a column that we had was Bikers. It was Poets Corner. And it was always, we did a monthly column of biker poetry, would feature a writer, and then also write something that was, pertaining to the month or the year or whatever was going on in the community. And she had always told me, because even being published, a lot of my work was monotone. Like it really didn't have, it had passion, but it didn't have the expressed passion that would make it stronger.
The feel.
Right. So she had always told me to, like any editor or, publisher would tell you, find your voice. And even teachers, find your voice. Like, your physical voice is meant for audio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wanted to make like my words on paper be that way in publishing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I'm writing something, I always have a flow, and probably every artist does. Like every composer of music hears the music as they're composing it or before they compose it. So I hear the flow and rhythm of the work in the moment that I'm creating it.
Yeah.
Otherwise I can't create it.
Now, when you're creating, you mentioned a couple different, I guess, triggers for creation, one being Darren will send you something, or when you're just writing, do you just have thoughts, words going on in your head while you're out there? Is it when you're sitting and you're by yourself and calm, or when do those words come to you?
Well, here's the dynamic and the dilemma about that is, again, MCMF, you're thinking about the lifestyle 24/7. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm looking out the window or checking not that it matters, because my wife knows this. I don't care if it's raining, I'm going for a ride. And there were times last summer that, she was off at work and it's a total thunderstorm, almost like a tornado conditions, and I'm gearing up to go out to ride. And I ain't lying to you, I was riding through puddles that were probably about 3 feet, 3 feet deep.
God bless.
Because I wanted to do it, not because of anything. And I didn't, have 100 pictures to post when I got home and show everybody on Instagram how badass I am, because it doesn't matter how badass anybody is. There's always somebody better and bigger and stronger. And
always someone will knock you out.
I just do it because that's what I do. When the worst storms of life hit me emotionally, and I can not at this point relate things that have happened the past few years, but to totally cause me to have almost like an emotional breakdown, and to just shake it off and get up and stand up and go head on into it and say, okay, let's go, motherfucker. What you got to offer? What do you got? What are you bringing that I can't handle?
Right.
That's a beautiful piece that I'll have to read for you too, from Debbie Fitch. So anyway, get back into being out in the wind. So I'm out there riding that type of storm, and I come back that day and I write about the experience. And that night, which is now the same day time frame, I'm sending a submission off to NewYorkCityMotorcyclist.com
Mm.
about the storms of life and how I equate them to the storms of on the boat, on the bike, the storms out there when it's raining or it's snowing or there's thunder and trees falling. I mean, I've ridden in signs flying off of how, off of buildings and shit, flying
Yeah.
in front of me. And I mean, my God, what the hell was I doing? But I did it, but I wrote about it. In fact, one piece was from New York City, and then Roadhawk magazine. I used to do, my column was a full short story and then a poem that would kind of complement the story that I wrote. And I wrote about the storms of life. And, then with Roadhawk, it went from me writing a column and then Darren coming in and contributing art to the projects. So I dropped the column because the artwork that we're creating is so powerful. And I'm not saying that because, we are the ones that did it. It's being so well received and accepted by the publishers and then by the readerships, that I dropped the column. So we would have specific room for our collaboration every month. I don't want to mess with a good thing.
Yeah.
I can write columns if that's what's needed. But right now, this artwork is like our 2021 project. We're going to run this whole year, me and Darren, throughout national and local motorcycle magazines with the collaborations that we create together. I mean, we've already have it mapped out where we have probably about the next 2 issues already concepted and being worked on to fruition to be able to. And then we're talking 2 or 3 months from now. So we're ahead of the game,
Ready
which
to
is the way you have to be in the publishing world. The magazines aren't printed. April's not printed next week. It's like a month ago or whatever, and they're just waiting to release it and stuff. So I mean, we've been very fortunate, and I'm blessed with his help to be able to do that. And plus, it's instilling a renewed passion for myself, for the art, for the craft of it. Because now I'm not only writing, I'm creating these plaques. So I'm putting time and effort and energy into finding the materials. I'm recycling old picture frames.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, all I'm doing is I'm turning them around and I'm using the rears, the back of them, which are not finished and varnished. They're still plain wood.
Yeah.
And decorative. And I've been coming up with some really good results, different sizes and all. So I'm more involved in the art.
Yeah.
And then Darren, life always throws curveballs at us while we're trying to do things like this. But he's doing what he's doing on his end too, with creating art and drawings and sitting down when he has that availability to do so. We all have families and jobs and lives to take care of, but our passion, at least we're blessed enough to be able to pursue
To have a
passion that we love,
Yeah.
and then also because we're, so many pursue their ambitions and their art and all, but to have the opportunity to have it accepted and published and accepted on websites consistently is something I'll never forget, having that honor and that privilege, because it doesn't happen to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm one of the best, because there's better than me. And I know personally biker poets that have been doing what they've been doing as long as I've been doing my gig, and we've been published together and we've gone separate ways, many people, and they're doing whatever they do, and it's just like, I haven't my hands full trying to maintain, my brand. So it's kind of hard. Even when I was a submissions editor for others' works, I had to read their work without editing, because the way the writer writes is the way the writer writes. If there's a spell check issue, well, that's a spell check will pick that up when they're doing their editing. I'm not going to tell you that this word doesn't fit, unless there were once or twice I might have asked for an and or a but to be taken out because of space limitations on the text, but on the font. But whatever works they submitted, it was a matter of me, how was I going to space it out on a PDF page to get 7 people published in 1 month, in one issue. So that's where my editing skills came in fantastic. If you see some of the work I do on Instagram, I just did one. We took my grandson to Diggerland, which is a whole construction park.
Is that in PA?
And the one we have here is in Jersey, North Jersey. But I did a whole collage, like a 11 by 14 poster using all the images the photos I took that day, and then I photoshopped their banner, and the kid loved it. He's 5 years old, man. He'll have that for, quite some time.
Yeah.
And it shows him and me and his grandma and him on all the rides and stuff, so I'm doing all this stuff because that's what I like to do. I mean, there's other things I could be doing, but nothing would help me. I've gone through a lot of healing the past 2 years. Had
And
a,
you
had a
you
lot of
mentioned that before with just how motorcycles, the poetry in particular, has helped you deal with life, to find passion again, to move forward, and not let the past drag you,
yeah,
right?
and
It's been healing for you, right?
well, that's been a problem that I've had all my life, and that goes back to childhood. Most of most issues stem in childhood, and they kind of just carry throughout. So like abandonment issues and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had with the understanding, knowing everyone goes through their own things, and everybody has depths of sorrow and heights of joy and all. But it just seemed to me that most of my life was filled with darkness and the depths of sorrow. And there was, even when there was joy in my life, I couldn't fully appreciate it because I was holding on to the shadows so hard. I wasn't allowing myself to open up to the light, to good things. And it was only till some situations occurred where I had to reevaluate uh, my protocols in life and who's important and who I was going to allow to affect the way I thought about myself.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about family, some close people, some people that I felt were either using me or I was even using them. Whatever I felt there wasn't, well, a positive thing being brought to the table in that relationship or circumstance, I just started getting rid of a lot of baggage that I
Yeah.
was carrying. I mean, my back was hunched over emotionally. I had a nervous breakdown. I was addicted. I was an alcoholic for most of my life, and then I was addicted to opiates for a dozen years, and which I've been clean from for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I always allowed those escapes to thought that those were helping me to deal with everything, by helping me forget and
Yeah.
not think about it, blah blah blah. Well, we all know that that's not the way to do it because you're penting it all up inside and you're burying it.
And you're just quiet in it for a moment.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I always equate my life to almost like a project where I'm rebuilding a bike. I built quite a few bikes in my time, and in my writing, I always mention the difference of, or the similarity of rebuilding a motorcycle and rebuilding my life.
Hmm.
If there's something on the bike that don't work, you get rid of it and you get something else. If there's a part rusted, and I have nothing against rust. I ride so much and so much weather, my bike has a lot of rust, and I don't give a shit. But if something's rusted and you don't want it to be rusted, you just replace it. You don't just keep riding with it because you have no other options. Well, I rode around with all this baggage because I felt I had no other options. And I wasn't embracing the love that was in my life. I wasn't embracing the family. I wasn't really enjoying the ride out there. I was more worried about getting, where's that car coming? Am I going to get hit?
Right.
I'm expecting something to happen instead of being aware, but enjoying those moments.
Yeah.
So when I finally had something occurred that triggered the lifelong issues of abandonment, I snapped. And thankfully I didn't go and delve into like shooting up heroin or snorting oxy or something. I delved into my writing and working on my bike and you know getting my bike back in order. And that's my
Yeah.
life, getting my life back in order, getting rid of things that didn't fit, that I kind of duct taped on just because I wanted that part. Get
Right.
rid of all the baggage, get rid of all the sorrow. 12, 14 years ago, it was, I had my old lady in California die in my arms.
Mm.
And that left me, was a downward progression of my whole life. I lost hope. I lost faith. I lost the desires, the passions. When I lost her, I lost love. I felt I lost everything. And, she was a woman, a beautiful, wonderful woman. And there's billions of beautiful, wonderful women. But, that like I put my passion into everything I do. I put my passion into my relationship as deeply as I put it into my art, So when that happened, everything was gone. And that's the point of my life where I said I was winding up sleeping behind dumpsters,
Yeah.
being in a homeless shelter in Barstow, California, knowing nobody, no money, no apartment, no job, no car, no bike. And that's 5 years after already losing a family due to my alcoholism, losing a wife and children and the car and the bike and the job and everything due to my addictions, and now I lost it, getting my life back together and finding love and moving from Delaware to California to be with this woman that, we had met online at the time,
Yeah.
uh, and when that happened, I was able to come back East, uh, you know, family helped me get back here and I had to reestablish myself. I bought a Triumph basket case. I started to rebuild that. As I started to I got a new job with a retail company that now I've been with for 18 years.
Mm.
So I rebuilt my life in the past,
Yeah.
The 10 years of being with my wife, my new wife.
Do you have a poem about it? Like how you relate the rebuilding your bike, rebuilding your life?
Well, actually I do. like I don't. Come on, David. I have a poem about my life is a poem.
Yeah.
Not and one poem I want to write is how poems don't always rhyme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life isn't
Right.
life isn't a rhyme, man. Life is
Right.
chaos and life can be
Yeah.
destruction and heartache. And you know, probably one of the reasons why my work is accepted is so much is so well is because I do know the darkness and the sorrows and downtime, but I also know now the joys and the bond and the friendship and the brotherhood and the
Yeah.
family, so I know and I appreciate what I have now.
And they say, don't forget the sun comes out after the rain every time.
Yeah, but brother, but when it's raining and it's lightning and thunder and it's been raining for 4 years and it's been dark and you're walking around and you ain't had a dry day,
Yeah.
you don't see no sunshine, brother.
No, it's
And see,
it's
I'm getting
life.
emotional now because I wrote something last year and I shared it on Instagram and I had a brother reach out and say, look, dude, my friend just took his life. And what you wrote, maybe if you would have read it, maybe it would have, meant something, maybe not, he said, but I read it and it meant something to me.
Yeah.
And he was able to understand a little bit better what the guy was going through because of when the depth of sorrow takes hold of you, just like a heroin addiction or an opiate addiction.
Yeah.
All right. So I trade addictions. Okay. I traded alcoholism, right? And I traded that up for an opiate addiction,
Yeah.
So that's what addicts do. They trade addictions. So
Yeah.
what my addiction now is my career, my craft, my passion, my love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So talking about trading off addictions, I traded off my alcoholism for sorrow. Okay. So the death of my fiance at the time, losing everything, becoming homeless, broke, riding on a Greyhound for like 7 days just to get back east to try to get to some semblance of normalcy. So I held on to that sorrow for 10 years. You know what I mean? So I wasn't drinking, but I was in depression and isolation,
Yeah.
not writing, not creating, not doing anything except working to be able to pay the bills, to go back to work to be able to pay the bills. So I traded addiction for sorrow. And then when I started coming out of that grief of, it was only the grief of loss of my old lady, but it was the grief of life, losing everything, losing a father when I was a child who's still somewhere out there who really doesn't have a relationship with me, and a sister who decided to walk away. So those are issues I had to just say, I'm not gonna, I let it control me for years. I can't allow that anymore because it brings me to the brink. It brings me to the edge.
Yeah.
And then if something little happens, it becomes a big thing and it's the final straw.
Yeah.
But like I said, the dude said, thanks for helping me understand a little better. And then there's the people that read it and could give a shit less what I wrote or what it means, which that's fine, doesn't matter to me. I have to do what I have to do
Yeah. And it,
Sometimes it hits somebody the moment they need it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And if that one person got touched, then that's what it was meant. That's who it was meant for.
Yep.
If 100 other people, 10 other people, 1,000 other people enjoy the whatever it might be, that's fantastic. But if that one person got touched, I want to tell you, just while we're doing this, just mention to you, there's this, I think he's 10 years old or 9 years old, this kid, Jaden, his mom got my book from a giveaway from Cindy Pan. So she got the book. Her grandson snatched it up and he read it. Now, the book is probably not for children,
Right.
but he fell in love with, he could relate. Let's say he could relate to a lot of things were written at that young age. He's experienced a lot of things in his life that he can comprehend a lot of the meanings behind the work that's being shared there, which is unfortunate for someone that young. But unfortunately, when I was that young, I had the same kind of mindset that I have now that I'm old. The stuff that you go through is with you for life. But he's writing. He picked up a pen and says, Grandma, I'm going to start writing because this guy Sorez, he really helped me thinking about things. I'm going to write about my sister, and I'm going to write about my whatever school.
Yeah.
So he's a little kid with a pen and a piece of paper saying, and that's what I was. I was a little kid
Yeah.
with a pen and a piece of paper saying, I like motorcycles, and this happened to be, for me, it was a teacher that did that to me. She's like, write about what you love and what you want to do. And to me, it was motorcycles. She said, go ahead, write about it. It wasn't the teacher that says, oh, that's wrong. You should not do that. You should write about the sun, and you should write about the plants and the trees. No, I'm writing about grease and oil and guys ripping it down the highway, that kind of shit. So, here's a kid doing the same thing I was doing at my age.
Cool,
because he found out there was some guy writes poetry about motorcycles. And it's not, doesn't say he's going to grow up and write about motorcycles, but he's going to grow up with a better understanding of himself.
Yeah.
And a better way to deal with circumstances, because he's getting in touch with his own personality through the things that he's writing. It's almost like you're talking to yourself.
And you're able to
express.
Yeah. You're able to get your thoughts out, and that in itself is healing.
Which is what I do which is why I have to write. If I'm not writing, I'm not healing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus my head would explode if I try to keep all this stuff in my brain.
Gotta have a dump.
And sad to say it, Instagram is my dump. I tried when I first hit Instagram, it's only been like, I think 2 years now. I was posting every single day.
Yeah.
And I was posting work that I wrote 40 years ago. I was posting work I wrote the other day. I had to put something every day. Now that I'm, published in these magazines, I've got to concentrate on my submissions, obviously, and I've got to make them, pretty decent to maintain that project. But
you put a lot of stuff on Instagram. Where could somebody pick up your book? You sell this?
SorezTheScribe.com.
Okay.
Is my website. And that has probably about 14 different features you can go in, different directions on the site you can go to. It's past publishers, different magazines I've written for the book. There's a page dedicated to the book. There's pages dedicated to different publishers that I'm currently being published with. Past publishers are featured. The plaques that I make, there's some photos in there. Most of my stuff is, and I never really have enough time to work on that site, but there's a lot of information there, and the book's there too. I'm still trying to find the one about it's Brewster lived his life. I forget. And it's a good one because
this is the one about rebuilding.
Yeah, rebuilding. The guy rebuilt his life, and Brewster was me. I just wrote it with a different name.
Okay.
Just to keep it interesting.
And the title is Brewster.
Actually, let me. I know you don't care about the time for a second. I'm going to get my other book, Living a Life. Cue ball. It's in there. Yeah, now this is the book that me and Doug Barber put out, 2010, hardcover, Living the Life.
Oh, cool.
Barber Cue Ball is a photographer.
Yeah.
He was the renowned owner of btwinbiker.com. And this is how much children love.
Oh, yeah.
Biker poetry and biker photography. Yeah. That's the last page of that hardcover book.
Nice.
sometimes it's hard to remember even titles.
Well, I see one in here, Living the Life 2010 in this book.
Yeah, that's a tribute to him,
Okay.
a tribute to cue ball, and some of the poems in that chapter are from the Living the Life book.
Okay.
Silence is bad, but you have editing software too. I'm trying because that piece is really good. It kind of explains it all because it talks about the alcohol and
Yeah. Well, you got one here, Damage Done.
that's a good one. That's the one about when I lost my family, my first
Yeah.
family.
Wrecked my bike, wrecked my
Yeah.
life, wrecked
Yeah.
my marriage, wrecked my wife, wrecked my heart, wrecked my soul, wrecked my freedom. Damage done, time now to rebuild.
That was one of the first things that New York City Motorcycle.com featured on me. He had done a whole interview with me in 2018, which is on New York City Motorcyclist.com.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if any of your viewers or listeners want to check out my history in the career of biker poetry, he has a really good article there. Now, I reached out to him through Debbie Fitch from
Okay.
MTMF. He had done a feature on her photography. So, you know, after a while, talking with Debbie, I reached out to Rahul and seeing if he wanted to be, if he was interested in anything on me. And he's like, holy shit, I'm glad you called, you know?
Nice.
And I've been writing for him like since 2019, Cheap Thrills. We shook hands on a column and I've been writing for him ever since. And that's monthly as well.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna reach out to Debbie and see if she wants to do one of these too. 'Cause
Without doubt.
yeah,
Without doubt.
I think for me, just trying to find my way in all this.
Right.
What do I want to do? How do I want to do this? I think just featuring different personalities in the motorcycle world. Like there's so many interesting people.
Well, you
That,
know what? You know what's one beautiful about that is you're going to get the big builders. They're going to get the fanfare, and they're going to get the spotlight, and they're going to get this and that, you know. And then other artists that are in the industry that are they're phenomenal. Oh my
yeah,
God,
right.
it's
That don't get any
God
kind of
touch. And and us little guys, I'm a little guy. I'm a guy's been doing this for 40 years, and I'm a little guy. I got $10 in my pocket, but I got a smile on my face.
but
And
there's
I got
talent,
a bike
there's
outside,
passion,
Well, to get, like you're saying, get those people on, who
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
wealth. They have a wealth of creativity and art and a portfolio.
Some motorcycle motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, even outside of that particular
Yeah.
lifestyle,
Yeah,
the average Joe that builds a bike in his garage,
right.
Yep. Then you're headed in the right direction.
So it's like, it's fun for me just, meeting different people. And I mean, that's what this life has always meant to me, is some sort of connection, brotherhood. Like
Right.
you're talking the military to the biker world. There's so many parallels just of like, I don't know you, I saw you on Instagram and here we are chat. Like that stuff's cool.
Well, the first time we talked, it was like, oh, dude, man, I knew this guy since, blah, blah, blah,
Right. It's just but it happens with anybody that is just genuine people. Real recognizes real. I don't know.
That's
it's
it.
just, it's neat. It's cool.
You already have that commonality.
Yeah.
It may not be, I'm a writer, you're not a writer. It may not be that part of it. You're not a writer, I'm a
Right.
but
But you
have
ride.
that common, we ride.
Yeah, you ride.
And there's other things that happen as an outgoing or an outreaching of that ride.
Yeah.
Is the brotherhood and
it's the people you meet. It's they always say it's not the destination, it's the ride, all that. But it's so true. Like we went to Daytona a couple weeks ago, and me and two buddies, we just threw our bikes into trailer, drove straight down to Florida, got a little house, and we just rode for about 1,000 miles, just different places, and just running into other people and just having conversations and talking bikes. And it's just, it felt like you're just going to meet some family.
Right.
And I'd never met, any of these people we're interacting with, but it's just cool.
Yeah.
And we ended up in Orlando. And do you know the Ace Cafe out of London? like where they
No.
used to race the little BSAs and Triumphs and stuff. It was like a
Oh, okay.
famous
Yeah.
little pub or whatever. And that's where the term cafe racers came from, was this
Okay.
Ace Cafe in London. So we were riding into Orlando and we saw a sign for an Ace Cafe. We were like, what the hell is this? So we go in and it's a motorcycle themed bar. And it was basically just replicating the one in London.
Oh, cool.
And they had all these old bikes in their pool tables, a little soccer field, like pickleball court, like just all this, like, you know, like a hangout spot, but it was all motorcycle themed. And even though it's not, you know, Harleys and all that, it just, it was cool, you know, to just run up into something like that and just feel comfortable. Like,
Yep.
you know, this
Are
is
you-
where we're getting lunch.
No, an old diner, but an old motorcycle diner. And
I got the,
oh, there you go. You get advertising from them or what?
yeah, got my like $30 t-shirt.
Look, I'll put you on my channel. Man.
Yeah.
I did find that piece that you mentioned before.
Okay, cool.
All right, this poem is from the 2010 photo poetry book, Living the Life with Doug Barber, titled His Life, basically based upon my life. Brewster lived to ride. It's all he ever knew. Even as a child, he chopped his bicycle, learned to weld at the age of 12. A master wrench he did become by the age of 21. All was good in Brewster's life until that day he took a wife. A living hell his life became. Found himself in jail one day. One by one, things started to fall. In a blink of an eye, all was gone. Gone was his wife. Gone were his kids. Gone his house. Gone his job. Lost his license, his right to ride. Even gone were his bikes. He even tried to take his life. Because of all of her, all was lost. Mostly gone was his hope. Found himself in a padded room. Jack and Jim were his only friends, and empty bottles littered his past. In the gutter is where he found himself. Decided it was time to rebuild his life. With the clothes on his back and a handful of tools, he found a job in his old neighborhood. Saved up his pennies, quarters and dimes, 10s and 20s, 1s and 5s. Bought himself a basket case bike and finally began to rebuild his life.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I bought a bike, an old Triumph when I came back to Jersey after losing everything again, twice in my life. And I rebuilt an old Triumph chopper and I rebuilt an old chopper brother. And now I'm riding, you know, an electric glide every single freaking day that I can. And I got a career. My career is back, and family and friends and brotherhood and love. And I'm thankful, and I appreciate you for even giving me time to tell you that.
No,
Cool,
I'm thankful for you, man. And I think, you know, you being open with your stories, with your life, you know, even coming on and chatting with me, I'm grateful for that. You know, we don't live in our own bubbles. We live in relation to people. There's relationships. Everybody's got a different path.
Yeah.
And when somebody can find relation to somebody and, well, how did they get through it or how did they do it? You know, just by writing that down and talking about your experience, like you said before, you're going to hit certain people that hits them when they need to hear it. And that's why it's important.
But
And
you know
that's
what?
why, you know, I'm grateful for you, man.
Thank you. My downfall was putting all this work out there. Even though my name was attached, Sorez the Scribe, it was more or less anonymous because it was just people were reading it in a magazine from this guy. And my biggest mistake was not reaching out to brotherhood, to isolating myself. I can do it by myself. This is my burden to bear. No one else needs to know my sorrow. Who gives a shit? My old lady died. Big deal. Who gives a shit that I was addicted? Who gives a shit this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? People do care. And that's where I was wrong. I thought I had to do it by myself. And the only way I truly healed is when I opened up my arms and my heart to brotherhood and to sisterhood and to people, friends and family, brothers, sisters, bikers, citizens, just to open up my personality, my being, saying, look, it may hurt, it may help, but I'm open. Let's go.
Yeah. I love
and
it.
And then dealing with it.
Open throttles, open hearts.
There you go. Put it on a t-shirt.
Hey, better trademark that quick.
Yeah, right.
And actually,
too late. It's already been done.
I want you to read one more, and we're going to end with this. The one on the back cover, you did with Debbie,
Right.
Adrenaline Rush.
Yeah, Debbie Fitch gave me the back cover. I love her to death. I don't even think this one was titled. So this is the back cover of Saddle Baggage. Cover art by front cover art by Darren Farland. Back cover art by Debbie Fitch. Adrenaline rush, the need for speed, flying through the air with the greatest of ease. Pop the clutch, twist the wick, forks lift, rubber grips, freewheeling. Ride on, brother, ride on. One wheel off the ground, daring to distance the shadows and leaving the past behind.
That's awesome.
I didn't even want to breathe when I heard the bike.
Let it rip.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. You're going to promote the shit out of it.
Sorez the Scribe, thank you so much for being on the Investment Biker podcast. If you know anybody that you think would be a good interview, that you think has a personality that's worth getting out there. I don't have a massive platform, but I've got something. I enjoy it. So if you know anybody in your life you think would be a good interview or somebody I should meet, let me know. I'm going to put this out there and hopefully your words can help touch other people. Go grab his book, support this man. He's given a lot to us. Let's give back to him. Also with your buddy, Joe.
Yeah. Electric Guide Joe
At
Sorez the Scribe. Yeah. And that will be presented probably in the next few weeks.
Yeah. And it looks like he's got on his Instagram.
Yeah, please mention, please.
Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, and then this can always get cut, but he had just gone through losing his mom last year to this.
So it's Electroglide_Joe.
There you go.
And Linda is his wife, dealing with cancer at the moment. And we all know that's nothing fun to go through. It affects so many of our people.
Yeah, in his profile, there's a link to the GoFundMe page. And in my profile, there's a link to my GoFundMe page. Now, they've already done quite well in a few days.
Yeah, let's keep it going. We got to rate that up.
Do even better.
Looks like they got about $5,000 so far. Let's get them 10 or more.
I mean, it brings tears in my eyes. Pure love and respect.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says Linda was diagnosed.
Joe himself is one of those individuals that are out there living a life and bringing the community together through his socializing skills. I mean, hey, Eddie, come here, man. I want you to meet, come here, hey. He's bringing people together, networking and stuff at the events. I'm like, Joe, dude, love you, man.
Well, let's come together for him and his family.
Yeah, definitely.
It says Linda was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic cancer as it has spread. Let's all see what we can do to help her out and lighten the burden, as she has helped all of us one time or another. Whatever you can donate would be a tremendous help. Thank you and God bless. That's from Joe.
Yeah, and as you can see, this even hasn't been completed yet because it fell off the backing of the plaque. But I just printed this out about an hour and a half ago.
Nice.
One of the 2 plaques we're making for them. It's going to be auctioned off.
Very good.
David, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It's just I got another friend and another brother now.
Awesome. As always, keep reaching out, keep doing your thing. I'll keep pumping your stuff out. Do me a favor, and when this comes out, if you can put it out too, I'd be most appreciative as well.
Without a doubt, we'll get it rolling.
All right, brother. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. God bless. Stay well.
Take care, bro.
Investment Biker out.